Welcome to Monday's Loose Mandem with Kamar Brown, featuring Harry Davenport, Kyle Taylor and Solomon Gordon.
Hello and welcome to Monday's edition of Loose Mandem. It's so great to have your company and support on today's show. Right, coming up in the next 40 minutes, we'll be discussing the latest COVID-19 news, mental health news, and towards the end of the show, we will be playing a game of Loose Mandem. Those who guess the song. So sit back, grab something to eat or drink, because that's today's Loose Mandem. Now, in recent coronavirus news, a vast number of more than 28 million people have had the first dose of the coronavirus vaccine in the UK, with more than 22 million people have had their second dose of the vaccine. As a whole, COVID has become such a divisive topic and conversation amongst all generations, highlighting the controversial opinions of vaccinations. Some people are even refusing to take them, or they are rushing to get their dose. In all the confusion and the madness, it seems the world is getting concerned about the situation. But don't worry, because we had a Loose Mandem, and here's our reactions. So what do you think about this?
Well, honestly, with lockdown and everything, everybody's had their, fair share of either depression or trying to get over things that have kind of taken the toll on them during the whole coronavirus pandemic thing. So it's, especially with the first lockdown, I think everybody didn't expect it to be that long and that hard hitting, although a lot of people did kind of in their own way get over it. I mean, me myself, I did a lot of meditation. I tried to write scripts, etc., etc. To take my mind off it, exercise or anything like that. Try and become productive in a sense. So then everybody has a different way of doing things, which is fine. But I mean, it has to be a point where your mindset has to force yourself to try and take your mind off of negative things. Obviously, it's an occurring thing, and obviously it's always in the media. It's been in the media since over a year now. So of course it's going to be on your mind, but you've got, sometimes you can't just always look to that. Try and look into, be more optimistic, which is easier said than done, but you have to think more positive about how you do things. And yeah, I mean, and there's been a lot of adults and teenagers as well who've been suffering through it, which is fair. I mean, it's, everybody has their own way of coping with things, I suppose, but even though there has been a rise in mental health problems.
Yeah, I'm going to speak that in the second half, aren't we?
Yeah, and it has really become a problem that not a lot of people speaks about, because everybody's so on the COVID thing, but not the impacts of it, which is unfortunate. But yeah.
So do you think meditation helped you with, coping through lockdown as well?
Honestly, yes. I mean, at first I was skeptical. I mean, it's like, who has the time to meditate? It's like, but then it did help me, because it's just time. It's just, I mean, you don't even have to meditate long. You can just meditate even for 5 minutes, and then sometimes it may extend to over 30 minutes because you just be so lost in it. But it just takes some time just to calm down, relax, and breathe. You know what I mean?
Well, can I say it depends. Meditation's different, innit, and all sorts.
Oh yeah.
It depends on how you feel in that current day. Any meditation can help. It just depends on how you feel.
Exactly.
And what you want to let go of and what you want to release. Because I do the same thing. It does help you.
Yeah,
it has helped me to cope with this, but.
Yeah. So what do you think of all of this?
Well, it has been annoying. That 2 weeks has been a long 2 weeks last year. Like I said, it was going to be. But obviously, it's been over a year now. But it has done my head in, because it's just, to me, it's just a small little virus. I think the cold, the flu, is a lot worse than what this is. But people don't take that into consideration. Yeah. Because people don't post it on social media, do they? No one goes, I've got the cold, I'm going to die today. It's like, I think people need to grow up. But then you've got the people who are against vaccinations in general, haven't you?
Yeah, and that's one thing I want to come up on, because of this vaccine hesitancy, towards obeying people, black, ethnic, and minorities. So this is a source from BBC. So race council patient Ben 2 said people have seen a social media that I've seen on social media that black and ethnic minorities will be used as guinea pigs and will be testing the vaccine. And what do you think about that, Kyle?
I think the word guinea pigs, I think that's a bit disingenuous.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the time, you know, we do live in a world where ethnic minorities happen to be poorer more than, you know, white upper class.
Yeah.
And that's you know, something we need to sort out, that's separate. But a lot of the time, those who test vaccines are in need of money.
Yeah.
So they're not guinea pigs. They're people who need money.
Yeah.
So I think it just happens to be that they're ethnic minorities because of other issues. But I wouldn't say they're guinea pigs.
Yeah, because I get why, you know you'll know, Solomon, that, you know, there's been a lot of, you know, for example, that syphilis thing in America. You get with, you know, black people, you know, being injected with syphilis and then not trusting those in power. So I do get where they're coming from for not trusting the government. And when you're seeing all these deaths on telly with all, you know, most of them are black, Asian, and, you know, ethnic minorities. So, Solomon, what do you think about that?
Well, I agree. I mean, you can't just say it is this specific one thing. I mean, like, history has shown that, yes, that ethnic minorities have suffered from the government. That's fair enough, and therefore it is the go-to when anything bad does happen. I mean, am I saying the government are totally absolved of any, like, bad things they do to ethnic minorities? No. I mean, they do have a stake in that. However, to just blame it on just, they're trying to kill off every ethnic minority is not true. But like Carl said, yeah, I mean, it is that, I mean, ethnic minorities are in a state where they are going to want to take the vaccine to gain money because they are in a poorer area compared to usually more white upper class people. So it, again, I would say it depends on whether, you know, social media has an influence on people's opinions, because usually that does influence people to think, you know, especially with the conspiracy theories going around with COVID and stuff like that, or, you know, it's masks are just killing us slowly, or all that kind of stuff. It depends. It really depends on what they put out there, because if you put out a false narrative and, you know, and you blast it so much, people are going to accept it to be truth. But, you know, and it's always the truth that usually travels slowly or travels quietly, so unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
Well, I want to move on to vaccinations now. And Harry, you told me over there you'd actually taken a vaccine. Can you tell us which one and how do you feel from it?
I can't remember which one it was, but the night that I had it, bloody hell, I couldn't sleep. It just got me. I know people have got the theories that vaccinations, I don't make them dumber or something.
Yeah.
Those people tend to be flat earthers, but it's something I don't know why people take into account, but I've still got my second one to go, haven't I? But
So when do you go for your second one?
I'm not too sure, but based on since I got it first because of the epilepsy that I have, and it's something that's, I mean, it's an advantage but a disadvantage in a way, but I don't know, it's something that's, it's good that I got it first, but now that it's over and done with, it's a step in the right direction now, isn't it? COVID's almost over now. It's just giving us all a good sign now to see that it's almost over. Everything's going to go back to normal any time soon. So.
Yeah, because my grandma has taken the Pfizer vaccine, and she's taken it last year, and she had the second dose in January, and then my auntie has had the vaccine recently. You know, just because her family's in Jamaica, and she doesn't want to then risk not going to see her family over there just because she hasn't taken the vaccine yet. Do you get what I mean? So, Cal, what do you think about that? Some black people are taking it, aren't they?
Well, the thing is, I think everybody should get a vaccine, but I fully understand those who are worried about it. There's always been anti-vaxxers. You know, 100%. You know, it's become a joke. You know, vaccines cause autism. People take mick out of that.
Yeah.
But with this new vaccine, I think a lot of people are worried about it because it's happened so quick. Now, I think they need to understand that they were under pressure to get it out quick.
Yeah.
So it's not, they haven't got the same people working on this vaccine that worked on every other vaccine. They've got 10 times the amount of people working on this vaccine. But if you come from, a background where vaccines aren't really, not really a part of what you think about, and then they randomly, not even 2 years in, like just over a year in, they go, we've got a vaccine, when other vaccines have taken 10 years.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, whoa, hold on. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the vaccine, but I 100% understand the people who are a bit put off by how quick it's been made.
Yeah, honestly, I was as well, because me and someone talked about it like months ago, how it's all actually told me it takes 10 years for for vaccines to be made, and then now COVID began in 2019, and then they got a vaccine. When was it? Like 9 months in the making, or 12 months? Can't remember.
I mean, what I can remember, probably about 9-10ish months.
Yeah, so that's fairly quick, and then you doubt yourself, saying how have they done this so quick? Whereas previous vaccines, take longer than 10 months.
And also, I believe that it's a mix of the fact that we've all been stuck in with thoughts and theories about what COVID even was, and then when a vaccine comes out, with what's happened, people are less trusting of the government.
Yeah.
I mean, the virus spread so quick, and from what I know, only 2 countries, South Korea and Germany, were the best. They did the best when it came to it.
Yeah.
Still not amazingly,
Yeah.
but they definitely did great compared to pretty much the rest of the world.
Yeah, because I heard about Dubai as well, and I think, was it something like Israel or someone that did in their vaccine rollout, and that's where they, some of their restrictions have been now, they're back to some kind of normality. But like us, hopefully, we get to some kind of normality soon. Right, I want to go on to the vaccines as well, back again. And it says here from the Telegraph, on the February the 2nd, which is my birthday, guys. If you don't, I just recently turned 18.
Joking. No, that's cool.
Well, it showed a single dose of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine prevents 2/3 of COVID transmissions, and it's 100% effective against severe or critical disease and hospitalization in a US study published on March the 22nd. So, what do you think about that, Sol?
That's the thing. I mean, they're so quick to roll out the vaccines. I mean, there is a lot of pressure to roll them out, and there have been a lot of restrictions because recently on the news they said something about unless you have a vaccination, you can't go into a pub.
Yeah.
Or anything like that.
Yeah, vaccine passports.
And it's like, well, I understand the method. You all these local places that people would normally go. You need to, you're trying to, to encourage people to take the vaccine so then they can access these areas. However, it's kind of caused a split effect. So now there's people who really do want to take the vaccine because they want to access these areas, or there's people that's going to be, I'm not going to take it because it's a trick. I mean, why would you? I mean, like, think about it. Why are they like letting us want us to take the vaccine to access these areas? And where's free will and stuff like that? So it's a split in perspective in that sense, because now people are kind of taking it as, vaccinations are they going to kill us or are they going to save us? So I don't know. It's not really a black and white. It's a grey area.
And as well, you've got to remember at the beginning of when the virus was first hitting us, there's a lot of people, myself as well, because that's just what my family was, weren't worried about it.
Exactly.
It felt a lot more like there's a virus and it was like something interesting to watch on the news, and then you go on with your day. Obviously, that's a horrible way to look at it, but it's how it started off. And there's a lot of people who didn't get out of that mindset.
Yeah.
And again, you can't blame them. This isn't something any of us has dealt with before. So when you see people with radically different ideas of what COVID is or how to handle it, you might instinctively go, no, you need to wear a mask, you need to do this. But you need to take time to go, I've never dealt with this. He's never dealt with this.
Yeah.
They might not. We both don't know what we're talking about, but the way we react to things is something we haven't seen before. And a lot of the people who are anti-vaxxers with this new one, some of them, you've got to remember, some of them probably weren't even anti-vaxxers originally. Like they've probably got vaccinations, and it's because it's COVID. They may have just been like, never wore masks, maybe even got it at some point, and they just don't feel the urgency of the people around them that do need the vaccine and that.
Yeah.
I think it's a tricky situation when it's nothing we haven't dealt with something like this before on a worldwide scale, and it's hard to figure out who's right and who's wrong. It's easy to go with people who wear masks and get the vaccine are right, but why we shouldn't nullify their opinion on this. We should understand they're coming from somewhere. They are saying this for a reason. What is that reason?
Yeah, you make a good point, Kyle. I want to come on to strains now, because we heard of the in the UK, the Kent strain, South African strain, and the Brazilian strain. Harry, what do you think about this, and how do you think these strains are coming over here? Do you think we should close the borders?
I think it's just obvious. Cause I'm not saying Brazil. It's not like them sort of countries. They're not the richest countries, are they? Compared to what we are here, it's quite a huge difference. I do think it should be close to some countries, except like maybe Spain and that. You know, close countries that you can easily, I don't know, get people over there to help vaccinate or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's they were being quite strict at the early stages of this, and later on last year, and in November when they closed every lockdown again, that was just out. I think that was just too much. Being 4 months now or something, it's just ridiculous. But I do think people shouldn't go to them sorts of countries if they're gonna, because I have heard about that new type of coronavirus symptom or something.
Yeah.
It's quite more serious, but I think people should need to have common sense here and just step away from this sort of stuff.
The government also clearly haven't got common sense, because Solomon, they haven't restricted some countries, like, you know, how some countries said, you know, you've got to quarantine any country you come from, but over here you've only got like a couple countries where you can, you know, you have got to quarantine.
Well,
so I don't get that.
Spain, you've got to wear a mask everywhere you go. Outside, you've got to wear a mask everywhere.
Spain it was terrible. During the first initial lockdown, I had not necessarily a friend, but an acquaintance in Spain who actually said that the restrictions were so tight that going outside was not an option. It was that bad. There was always people with guns outside to make sure, like police with guns outside to make sure that you stay inside, that you go from A to B and then that's it, and then go back and that's it.
It's like Italy, that though, innit? You had a pass. You had to get a pass from like your head of state there, basically. You know, and if you got the pass, then you were allowed out. But it wasn't like a free pass. It was like, this is a pass for you to go to shops.
Like what? Vaccine passports over here.
Yeah, it was like you can do this. And with the borders thing, I think the best example of this is New Zealand. New Zealand has closed their borders. They have no cases. They have fully closed their borders, and a lot of people are protesting for them to open again. But in New Zealand, they're basically saying, we don't have any cases anymore. You can do whatever you want, but you're not leaving the country and no one's entering the country. And it's worked. I don't know if that's the best decision, but it worked. And obviously not forever, but closing the borders seems like an option.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people shut it down because they think back to, like, you know, idiots talking about close the borders, you know, people who you shouldn't really listen to.
Yeah.
But this has nothing to do with that. This is something completely different.
Yeah.
And I think closing the borders, 100%, we are, because we're not allowed out, but people are allowed in, and that's just equally damaging. So I think it is an option. I don't know if it's the only option though.
Well, we'll just have to hopefully and see. In the last 10 seconds, well, we know Boris, Dolly Parton, Felix Coffin have taken the vaccine. So would you, yes or no, Solomon?
I can see
Or
myself.
maybe?
I mean, I might do. Yeah, in the future, I could definitely see myself taking it. I mean, it's gonna get to the point where everyone's probably gonna take it
Yeah.
at some point.
Kyle, what do you think? Would you take it?
100%.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I got offered and like my dad who's 50 didn't, I probably wouldn't. I'd like see if I could get him a vaccine first. But yeah, if I was offered.
Yeah. Well, Harry's taking it, and for me, we'll just have to see. Well, that's it for our latest news discussion, but please stay tuned because after the break, we'll be discussing all things mental health and we'll be playing a game of Loose Mandem Does Guess the Song. Scene 2 takes. Welcome back, nice to see you again. Still just want to play short. All of our panelists will be playing a game of Loose Mandem Does Guess the Song series, which is Loose Mandem Does Guess the Song, and hopefully one of them will win and not complain to have extra time. But first, lockdown has affected us all in some way or another, and with very little contact to our family and friends, there has been a rise in mental health problems. So the question of the day is, do you think the pandemic has elevated mental health problems and what our experiences with that effect? Harry, what do you think about that?
100% it has really got to people now. That mental health is an issue that people have not really come to realise.
Yeah.
Same with myself, I didn't really realise mental health was a huge issue, but until until this lockdown started, it's just people started to open their eyes a bit now and see what problems people can face without them actually noticing and realising. It's something that's not spoken about enough, I'd say, especially for men.
Yeah.
Whereas women, because it's like a stereotype in it, like men, you're just told to man up about everything. Like if you got the vaccine, just man up. It's just a little vaccine. So like it's mental. It is an issue. There's loads about that you can talk about, but it's just too much. I think it's just too much to speak about. To be honest, it's the simple things are the solutions towards mental health. Like what can you do to prevent them? Which is like meditation.
Yeah, because Carl just recently heard that the government has put a lot more money into mental health, and like Dr. Alex from Love Island is now like I think he's a mental health advocate for the government for mental health. So what do you think about that?
Personally, I'm a very rare case. I understand this, that I haven't been affected badly, really.
Yeah.
But that don't make me ignorant to the fact that it has to many people. There is clear support out there, I think. But
do you think there's enough support though? That's what people are saying. There's not like.
I don't think it's the government's place. I don't think they need to support it. I think it comes from home. It should be built into the family structure.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be something the government obviously needs to put something out there for help, but this should be something you do in your own home. You know, when you have breakups or simple things like that, you talk to your family members about it.
Yeah.
And I think mental health should be as normal as that. And I think when the government puts out these big posters and big pushes for it, I think it worries people, makes people think, is something wrong? Is this an epidemic? And mental health, and really it should be something we need to build into the structure of the own home.
Yeah, definitely. Solomon, your take on this? question?
Well, I mean, it does have many factors that affect it. I mean, with mental health. I mean, depending on background as well. Culturally speaking, especially with come from usually it's black households. Let's for instance say Jamaican households. Mental health isn't really spoken about a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not. I mean, it's in a sense it is that build upon the traditional sense of you've got a man up.
Stiff upper lip.
Yeah, exactly. So it's you can't just it's because it's been so ingrained. I'm not saying there can't be change or at least a little bit of change or you know what I mean. But unfortunately, the vast majority have that mindset. And like I say, I do open up with my dad about mental health stuff as well. Like I used back probably high school, used to go through a lot of like depression, etc., etc. But and obviously he's from a Jamaican background, so we're both from Jamaican backgrounds. But it's culturally speaking, though, it is difficult because depending on our also society has a big part to play in it as well. There's a lot of pressure to people always highlight, men have to open up about their feelings and stuff like that. Men can cry too, which is normal as well.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously there are traditional ways in which people are like, no, men can't cry. It's always that kind of like the fantasy versus reality. You want people to do this, but ultimately, when it comes to the situation, it's like, why are you doing that? It's mental health is such a. Again, I don't want to demean it in any way, shape, or form. It's a simple but also complicated kind of thing. Like with many things, it is very difficult to, at first, maybe to understand or to really receive from another perspective. But coming to it, it is when you break it down, it is a thing that needs to be explored a bit more. Like Carl said, in their own home as well, a bit more. I do appreciate with like media like expressing stuff about how to tackle it and raising awareness, which is fair. But ultimately, you can only do so much. You have to take that step. You have to try to be better. You can't always sabotage yourself and blame others for other things that happen. I guess there's many factors that affect a specific type of problem you have. That's fine, but ultimately, you've got to try and better your situation as much as possible. Whether it's through family or friends or just going outside, meditating, even doing things to just feel better, or even just control it. Try and have a nice look on things, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Because for me, the first ever lockdown, when Boris made that sentence, so don't go anywhere at all. I think my mental health was, I was very sad, because I couldn't see, I couldn't see no one, I couldn't see, my family, my grandma. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that was my moment where I had my little, felt quite sad. You get what I mean? But I overcome that with, exercise, as I told Solomon. Exercise. I'm not really like a meditative person, like to meditate, but I like to do something to just get, or like something like drawing or something active. That's what I like to do. But yeah, I was in lockdown with my mum, and we spoke about all this. What do we think about the news as well? And yeah, but I overcome that as the months went by. I started doing things, such as
because you're in a cocoon typically. Especially like because you're always inside.
Yeah.
You couldn't really. Depending on what household you have. You could go outside in your back garden or something if you have one.
We are lucky to have a back garden.
Yeah, exactly. But most people either live in an apartment or a flat, and they can't really do all those kind of things. Or they don't have the luxury of having a front or back garden, you know what I mean? Or both. So it's like, well, you're kind of in this cocoon with the same people or just by yourself. But imagine being in one place by yourself for 6 months straight. Not able to speak or see people, you know what I mean? It's a weird one.
I think there's something you picked up on there where you talked about people who are stuck at home. But from what I've seen, my dad does tarmac laying. and he's doing basically a 20-year-old's job at 50, and he moans about his lot, and he wasn't affected by the COVID thing because he still had to go out, still had to get up at 5, and at first I was like, you're lucky, you get to go do something, but after a while I realised when everything's going on, he still has to do hard work, then come home and not be able to do anything from there. He has to stay at home.
Yeah.
And I think, like, middle class, anyone really, just people who the rules of COVID were put behind and just their job was put first, have been affected greatly. I can tell because my dad just, he hates it. And it when the rules don't affect him, don't apply to him when he's at work, it annoys him. And then it's gone from annoyance to, why can't I just stay at home with everybody else? And it is that's the issue. They have to pick who has to go to work and who doesn't. And I think a lot of people who have to go to work, like nurses and doctors, it's easy to forget that just because they get to go out, it's still hard to be the last one still working and to know that you're still working.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's why I salute the NHS as well, because what they have done through this COVID, I know there's been, 100,000 plus deaths, but they have done, a fabulous job to this country. Harry, what do you think about what Kyle's has said?
Well, like you said, the comfort zone. Some people like to be outside of it. Like some people's comfort zone is like literally at work or something. Some people like to be active all the time, whereas you got like myself. I hate being at home all the time. It's my comfort zone, so I don't like being there. When I do like it, but when I'm there for for a year now, it's just too much. I just want to get out and work. Cause it just releases all that sort of stuff I want to get out of my head. It's just cause it affects me mentally, and it just
it's not a everybody in a big blob of the same feelings. So, like, obviously what I just said is basically opposite to you, but we're both in agreement.
Yeah.
You know, there's people who want to work, they hate being at home. And like I said, there's people who feel they're being left out, if you get what I mean. They feel like, oh no, you've just got to work, you just wheels in the machine while we all stay at home and protect ourselves. So, yeah, I think, salute the NHS, but also just salute people who have to, go to radio towers while it's out. Just anyone that's still working, they're being affected, and I think they're suffering just as much as people stuck inside.
Especially when the fact that typically they are at risk the most. Especially again in that big marriage. It was again like just like you. My dad had to keep working as well, and he had to go nearly every day to his job, and he hated it as well because it's like, well, he has to go out there, typically risk his health and safety with the virus, a possible virus that could affect him, and then he has to bring it home after a long hard day of work to his family, and typically risking their lives as well, which is again and as the family members, you are worried about that particular person as well, because they've got to work and they're risking their lives, and you're also as like, is this going to affect us deeply as well, because then it's caused this ripple effect. And if not to like downplay anybody who has gone out to work, it's just like it's everybody's situation is different, Exactly. Everybody's situation isn't the same. You can't just say everybody thinks this way, it's not black and white. Everybody seems to think that everybody is always one idea or the other. There's so many different people, different opinions and different backgrounds, different experiences, and especially when it's the same thing. Arguably some people can say that coronavirus has linked us together in some sort of way. Although there have been difference of opinion, because of with the anti-vaxxers and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's just so different for everybody.
Yeah.
And if it continues, then can't really judge anyone.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I want to move on to the children now. And this is a source from Young Minds, and it says the COVID-19 January 21 survey carried out with 2,438 young people aged 13 to 25 between the 26th of January and February 2021, and it shows that 75% of respondents agreed that they have found the current lockdown harder to cope with than the previous ones, and 67% believe that the pandemic will have a long-term negative effect on their mental health, which includes young people who have, bereaved or undergone traumatic experiences, carrying the pandemic. Wow. Kyle, what do you think about that? What I just read? That's a shocking number, isn't it? A shocking statistic.
It is a lot. It is a lot. When the way people have reacted and the way people are dealing with it, it's a difficult topic to, find an opinion on, I think, because like Solomon said earlier, it's just we're not one big thing. We're not. So that 75% have dealt with that. And then I bet if you did a different study, you'd find 75% who believe that they've been fine. And that's why it's so difficult to tackle this problem, I think. And that's why personally I don't think it's the government's job to... I think it's their job to understand it, but we're also different. This is a personal thing we need to work on.
Yeah.
The government ain't going to help us with mental health. I just don't think they're going to help these people. Not because they don't want to. I just don't think Parliament or the Prime Minister have, that's just such a small number of people. It's a big room full of a lot of people, but there's a lot of people in this country.
Yeah, because like what you said before, the government can only do some sort of way, but then you've got to carry on with that as well. It's not just them, but I get that.
It's a personal thing, and the government, I've never felt that the government represents everyone. It represents a certain kind of people, and not bad people, just represents them. And I don't think a room of about, I don't know how many there is, but I don't think a room in Parliament understand what will help people in the country.
Yeah, because like you said,
just
about
too many people.
Yeah, because like you said about the higher classes and the lower classes, they probably haven't experienced the mental health problems before, because they have a privileged life. They've got a nice car. I'm not saying our families don't have nice cars, but they've been born into that family with that.
Yeah, my dad, grew up super poor, and I live a great life. I have no problem saying I live a great life because of him. He works every day, and I'm very privileged. But him and people who are growing up in houses like he grew up in, they're just not represented. They're not. It's not a malicious thing to say that the government doesn't represent everyone, and to solve these problems of 75% of people feel like they're going to have long-lasting... Was it 65?
67.
67% of people feel like they're going to have a long-lasting mental health issues because of this.
Yeah, and that includes as well who are concerned about whether friendships would, recover, or who were worried about the loss of education, which understand, because most of these kids have been out of education for the longest time of their life, Solomon.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, imagine being you're probably in primary school and you're starting a new year, and all of a sudden COVID happens. It's like, wow. It's especially when you're in the world for a few years. It's it's brand new to you, and it's like, is this normal? Is this right? Is this wrong? Because already in your mind, when you're quite young, you're learning things, and at this point, and like you said, that's a really big number. You know what I mean? You can't really specifically say that everybody in that number is gonna feel the same. It's always gonna be different levels of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, the fact that it's gonna be a long-lasting effect, even after maybe COVID kind of dies down, because I don't think it's ever going to disappear.
No, they clearly said that it's never going to go away.
It's never going to go away. But I mean, the fact that it's caused that much, and people think that probably after a long while that they're going to still suffer through that, is going to be, it's quite worrying. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's something that, yes, households and personally you should work on yourself. You know what I mean? not to say, oh, you know, anybody who suffers mental illness, oh yeah, you should you sort out, you can do it, you sort out yourself.
Yeah.
No, it's just, you know, it's something you have to take responsibility of and further better yourself, because if you don't, then it could go in the total opposite direction, and who knows what can happen.
Yeah, and Harry, just final word on that before I move on.
I don't know if I said it yet, but social media, that's the one thing that can help us, but that's something that's setting us back as well.
Yeah,
If you know what I mean? The government, they can't do everything, can they? But social media, everyone's on it. That's why, that's my point of view on COVID, is because everyone's scared of it because of social media. That's my opinion, is social media.
Yeah, because you get, like you said, all these anti-vaxxers, all these conspiracy
social
theories,
media,
you know,
that's what it's from.
Put stuff out there.
Yeah, that's
and
where
that-
I see it. I just see it all
It's
online.
just people are so gullible nowadays. The people fall for it, they see, like, come on.
But maybe they're not gullible. Maybe it is the fact that social media started out as this kind of, hey, you get some info on it, you know, Google and stuff, and now that's crossing over with false information or theories.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Yeah. So when
Everyone's
someone's
on it out there. Everyone's got a phone. Everyone's on social media.
it's so easy to get wrong information.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Well, if you have been affected by anything we just talk about mental health, there's helplines out there, and if you are struggling, please, you know, speak out to someone or even email us. Our email address is at the bottom of your screen right now. Right, now moving on to the next segment of our show, it's time to play Loose Mandem does Guess the Song. In this game, it's quite simple. I will play a song, and either Solomon, Cal, or Harry will put their hand up and name the artist as well as the song title. If they name the artist correctly, but not the song title, they will get half a point, and that is the same if they guess the song title correctly, but not the artist. So, are you ready, guys?
No.
Hell yeah.
No.
Dude, I'm gonna ace this.
No.
Right,
No, you're
first song.
No, you're not.
Just put your hand up here when you feel like you've got it. The first song.
Is it All Night Long by
Oh,
no,
Shaka
it's
Khan.
not. It's no, it's
No,
not.
no,
All Night
it's
Long.
not. No, it's not.
Not Harry. Go on, song.
Is it Shaka Khan by? Not Shaka Khan. It's
Shaka Khan. It's Shaka Khan, but do
Oh,
you know
that's
the song title?
Oh. Ain't nobody.
Yes, well done, song,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
What was the title?
Well done.
Right, that
Solomon.
was a lucky guess.
Well, how
You
is
didn't
it?
even hear it. You just.
I recognize the melody. She witty.
Right, next song. Next song. You probably know this song.
Hold on, give me a second.
Oh, nah.
B.I.G.
Oh, is it?
It was all
No.
a drink.
No.
What?
It's not.
Wait.
It's in Notorious B.I.G.
Oh, this is the sample
Don't
we
you
took
dare.
it from.
Don't
Ten
you
seconds.
dare.
10
I can
seconds.
think of this.
Oh no, I can't remember it.
Is it Janet Jackson?
No.
No. Oh no, I know the name.
Oh, sorry. Well, that was M-Tune by Juicy Fruit.
Never heard.
Right, next song.
Unlucky.
Next song
So
is playing
far.
now.
Oh, Lauren Hill, do what?
Well done.
Bro,
Oh,
why
so we're quick there. Next
How,
song.
why don't I get all these? My mum listens to this all the time.
Jump, run DNC.
Oh,
What song? Oh, I literally had it. It's I
Jump,
literally.
but who is it by?
Oh no. Jump.
So,
Crisscross jump.
yes,
Yes,
well
sir.
done, so.
He's somehow cheating.
How
I'll
am I
make that very
cheating?
clear.
I
No,
don't.
he just knows his music. Next one's not playing now.
The air.
One more time, Daft Punk. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh no!
There we
Wait,
go.
I could
One
hear it.
Harry.
I could hear it as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Next song's coming on.
You're really close. Ah, super kawaii.
Is that
Oh,
Ain't that all that girl?
Name and
oh,
Is it? No, it's not. No.
Hollowback Girl, Gwen Stefani.
Bro, I should have never said I was gonna ace this. I got
Right,
1
so
point.
we don't know this one, but would he know the name and the?
Go on, Solomon. This is yours.
Oh.
I give up.
Never heard this. It's not mine.
You
Where?
guys want to know it?
It's Egyptian, right?
Yeah.
Pardon. Let it play. Let it play.
We got
Missing me now. Let go. Yeah, that's that one.
What's the actual title of the song?
Hold on.
Oh no, he's gonna say it. 5 seconds.
Wait, no. Wait, no, I know the name.
Well,
yeah,
sorry.
it's Let Go.
Sorry, it's gone fast. Right, next song.
Oh.
You could have said it.
I got the name
actual
though.
song, yeah, well, that's half a point.
Yeah, better give me that half a point, shoot.
How long in?
The thing I twerked to. Is that the name of it?
Name?
Bottoms up, innit?
Name and artist?
Chris Brown, bottoms up.
Booty sweat.
No.
Uh,
It's not Salento. It's not Salento. No, it's not.
say that again?
Is it Salento? No, it's not.
That was Trey Songs.
That's not Trey. That's Trey Songs.
Yeah.
Damn, he sound different though.
Next song.
you go.
Yes, it is.
Next song.
Oh,
Hotline Bling, Drake.
Yeah, sorry, Harry got there first.
I'd love 1 point. It'd be great. Could I just have one of yours?
Saul will know this one, but would the others know?
No.
Oh, yeah, I know this.
No?
Hmm?
Song title?
I actually don't know the fucking song title if I'm being quite honest with you. I know
You
the
know
song.
name?
Kind of don't know the
No?
name.
That was the Upsetters, Return of the Django.
Oh, okay, I know
Next
the name.
song,
now,
everyone will know this song.
Oh,
I've never heard this.
Show Me Love.
yeah. You would, I think, when it gets to
Yeah,
the chorus.
go on.
I don't know the artist. It's one hit wonder. This.
Anyone else?
Oh, shit.
Oh.
You got to show me
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Artist?
No, wait.
I don't know.
Whoa, that was beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Damn it.
next song, that was by Show Me Love, Robin S.
Damn it. I'm not good with names.
One hit
Stop
wonder.
bullying me.
Well,
I'm clearly not good with music, so don't take it to heart.
Oh, Basement Jacks.
Basement.
Music keeps on playing.
Oh.
You know,
what's
singing the
what's
song.
his- Don't you know the song title?
Oh, wait, I do though. I put it on my phone.
Go on.
Oh.
Is it Room 5? No, that's not.
Nope.
No, that's an artist.
Oh, I know the name. I know the name.
No, you don't.
I do though.
No, you don't.
I actually do. I do.
Say it then.
Oh, well, Saul, sorry.
What's the song?
Not to give you that. It's by Basement Jaxx, Red Alert.
Pass.
For God's
Oh.
sake.
Right, next song.
1 point. 1 point.
This is 1 point.
Shy Guy.
Yeah, but the name of the artist?
I hate how I've heard all these, but nothing comes to mind.
Oh, man. I know the song. I do. What? Mercy, mercy.
Oh, well, Harry just
Help.
got half a point, but it's by
What?
Diana King.
That's a Shy.
Shy Guy.
Oh.
Diana King, right. Saul, you probably know this one. But you know
I'm
the
crying.
artist.
Are we sure?
To-
Dude, you're winning anyway.
I know, but still, it annoys me that.
Come on, guys. Can't leave you
Oh,
get
Carl,
one.
I
you should
want
know
1
this.
point.
You should know this one.
I don't know this.
Oh, it's. For God's sake, what's the name?
Tell this way.
Mary J. Blige.
Mary J. Blige. There you go.
Mary J.
Still,
Blige.
you don't get to do that.
There you
Mary
go.
J. Blige?
Um,
Mary
Yeah,
J.
I got that.
yeah, comfortable, it's so comfortable. Wait.
Well, you're not
Jesus.
answering the
Wait, but I sang the tune.
Yeah, but-
Therefore,
no.
it got 2 points.
The song artist and the title.
So I get half
But you
point.
got the artist, but not the song title. Right.
Chill, man.
You
No.
probably know this, Kyle. Right, next one.
No. No.
Oh, true.
Oh no!
Bro, chill.
No, I won't.
Anybody know it?
I know it. I can't remember the name.
Got to turn around.
What's back? Yeah, I'll give you that. What's the artist?
Oh, I can never remember his name, you know. I can never remember his name.
Well, that was Fats and Small's
That's
turnaround.
it. That's it. But
Right. Let's see if anybody will get this one.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is embarrassing.
like giving you a point because you haven't got one yet.
Now let's finish. I'll have 0 points, and I'll go down in history as the only person to never get any points.
No one?
Wait. Let it. At least let it.
Oh, God.
Nah, you playing the intro.
Then that's not the
You should know by the intro.
That's not the That's like just play the full song, then I'll know the song.
No, it's at least do the chorus. Damn. It's not Ain't Nobody, is it? No, it's not. No.
Well, sorry, too long. It's got to have your love, Mantronics.
Oh,
Last song before the show ends.
listen to
Probably,
what time.
probably know this song. If you get this wrong, I feel sorry for the black community and Jamaican families. That, oh,
I feel sorry for the white community. I failed you.
Bob Marley.
no, good try though.
Oh. I'm thinking of two songs, but I can't really think.
You must know the artist.
September.
It's not embarrassing, you guys, is it?
No.
Just naming everybody possible.
Wait, is it not? Hold on.
No. I'll give you a clue. He's blind.
Oh, Stevie Wonder.
No.
The guy Jamie Foxx played.
No, not Ray Charles.
That's the only
Begins with
two
a S.
guys I know.
No, what did I say David Bowie?
You said Stevie Wonder?
Stevie
Oh,
Wonder.
well.
I only know two blind people.
What's the name?
Stevie Wonder and the other dude.
So I didn't get it, but it was Sanchez.
Oh!
You got me going.
Oh,
well,
you failed, man.
that's it for today, but at least you won, Sol.
Sorry,
Well,
sorry.
Next time, Harry.
I'll win
Good try,
next
mate.
time.
Well, that's it for today's show, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks to Sol, Kyle, and Harry for joining me and sharing their views bravely and wholeheartedly on our Monday's episode. Don't forget to like, share, comment on all of our social media pages. It's at the next screen now. You can see it on your screen now. We'll be back this Wednesday at 7. Take care. Bye.